Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first snap of another season.
Nerds roll. Nerds roll. Oh, my glasses are broken.
Surprise me.
My pocket is protected.
Surprise me.
I'm a super nerd.
Surprise me.
Okay.
Excelsior!
I am a super nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy.
I am a former entertainment journalist.
I am a super nerd.
TBJ.
Welcome. Congratulations. You did dirt. Ta-da. I got no shame. I am what I like to call a surprise nerd.
Art Star.
I am not an incel.
Dark Star.
He's the nerd Gotham City deserves.
And yours truly, call me Joe.
Joe Verse. Right, a couple hours ago, I had watched New Hope and the one after. I forgot the name of it, but
Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah,
You just forgot the name of the Empire Strikes Back?
it's because it wasn't. It's not as important. The whole thing was just watching Darth Vader and Luke fight, and then how like Darth Vader was trying to lure Luke over to the dark side. And I was like, in my mind, I wish when I was a kid I understood the concept, because I'd have been like, go Luke, go.
No. Not go, Luke.
Let's take a moment to just realize that this is the Nerd School podcast, and one of the nerd professors just forgot the name of the Empire Strikes Back.
He just pulled
Mostly
another art.
considered to be the best of all the Star Wars films.
But let's say
Also, note, Andy, that this is the same professor that went, Wanda and Vision. Wanda
Hey,
Vision.
Andy had a moment too. He had
He
recently.
had a moment.
That's
You
true.
had
But-
a lot of moments.
Another thing I noticed just watching that movie, it made me appreciate Solo more. Just seeing Lando Calrissian and like the things that went on between him and Han Solo.
Yeah.
Solo seems so much better. Rewatching Empire Strikes Back.
Solo is so
I
good,
like Solo.
but I think it's because of I'm having my Art Star moment. Donald Glover. Donald Glover. And we talked about this on an episode earlier.
Yeah.
Tiffany got mad 'cause
He
I said
just did a great job.
he's better than Cheeto, but Donald Glover, man.
I didn't say he was better than Cheeto.
I
They have
did.
two different categories, apples and oranges.
No, well, maybe. Well,
Apples
no,
and
so
oranges.
that's a good segue, because Don Cheadle was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 1.
Can I take a side? I just want to throw this in there real quick. 'Cause
Okay.
I've been waiting to say this all day.
Okay.
This word
Like-
I'm concerned. I am concerned.
So while I also watched the 2 Star Wars movies today, I also watched A Few Good Men,
Ugh.
Oh,
and it was like
more Tom
I was
Cruise bullshit.
And I was thinking, I was like, the coolest thing ever was if they remade Lethal Weapon and you had Tom Cruise and Don Cheadle as Riggs and Murtaugh.
So you're trying to get me to watch a movie by pairing a Tom Cruise movie by throwing Don Cheadle in the movie.
No, I just want you to understand it'd probably be a cool thing to watch.
Here's the thing.
You mean Tom Cruise from Few Good Men era, or
Yeah,
go back in
exactly.
time and get him?
Any Tom Cruise and any
No,
Don Cheadle.
not now, Tom Cruise. Any Don Cheadle, yes. Not now, Tom Cruise. I say throw back Tom Cruise a couple of decades, yes. And then anytime Don Cheadle.
I just wanted to throw that little piece of bullshit in there at the beginning because I knew it would do a little something. So
Listen.
I don't ever want to see Tom Cruise anymore. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with him. I don't think
His classics are classics. Again, you feel the need for speed, do your thing, okay? You can't handle the truth? Fine, whatever. Do your thing. After one Mission Impossible? All right. Now please retire, Tom Cruise. Go off on the spaceship or whatever those Scientologist people do when they go. Go. away.
I'm with you on that. I really don't want to see him anymore. If he's in a
Nope.
Marvel movie or if he's in He-Man or something,
No.
maybe I'll see it.
Nope. Marvel better not.
I don't see.
Marvel
I
don't owe
can't see
me
him in
ish,
Marvel.
but
He
I'm
could
gonna
be
say right
Orko.
now, Marvel,
He's-
you better not.
He can be Orko and that's it.
You want him to be Orko? That was my next question: is who does Tom Cruise play in the He-Man universe?
Well, he's getting older, so maybe he can be Man at Arms. When he's getting older. But
I don't think he's gonna admit that he's getting
I don't think he can
older.
grow a mustache.
Yeah, I can't see him with a mustache. It would kind of. I don't know. I don't see Tom
yeah,
Cruise with
I
a
don't
mustache.
know why he bothers me so much, but he does.
It's a creep factor.
Don Cheadle in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
But let's get to Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 1. Let's cover that first.
Yes.
What? So, were you guys first before we get into it? Were you guys happy with it? Like thumbs up, everybody?
Yeah, I would say so. It's mostly set up. It's it has a couple of banger action bits, but
I felt like the action started right from the go. Like right from go.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and that scene in the air flying and everything, it was exciting and awesome. And I love the little red bird thing.
Red Wing.
Red
The
Wing.
drone.
Like, was that something that's been in the thing before? Have we seen that before?
yeah.
Oh,
it was
did?
in Civil War. I think you saw it the first time you saw it. And
Well,
he was playing around with it.
I don't remember Falcon being so tech heavy. Like it's like Iron Man again. Like he's got Iron Man info. Like,
Well, he's got I think in this the whole flight rig is military issue. That was like his military service.
Yeah.
There's a bit in Winter Soldier where he says he was in like the para rescue unit or something.
Yeah.
And Steve Rogers thinks he means he's a paratrooper. And then when he shows him the blueprints of the rig, and it's like, I thought you were I never said that.
I think
What I
I
am
also
is-
want to point out, Joe, that you might not remember it from previously watching it because we've already established that you aren't good at paying attention to movies prior to now.
right.
But I do gotta. This calls back to Captain America 2, like when Falcon first showed up, and just how breathtaking those flight battle sequences were in that movie.
Yeah.
And
see,
so
I
just
remember.
they're really going balls out and making Falcon look badass. I gotta
Yes.
say, because it's for most of the time in comics he's like a guy with actual red wings.
That's what I wanted to
and
ask.
like
Is he in the comics?
sleeveless shirt?
Yeah, he was a stupid guy with actual wings, right? Like not stupid, but Hawkeye, like all those guys that were like not Hawkeye, Hawkman or whatever. The guys that had wings sticking out of their backs, like.
So do you
All right,
do you like
Hawkman
Stratos?
is.
I do like
Hawkman is a whole mess
Stratos.
that will take an entire show to dissect his history. But some versions of Hawkman are an alien, and they had wings.
Well, there's
But,
Hawkman, there's Angel. Isn't there Angel that was in
Angel is a
X-Men?
mutant who his mutant power was he grew wings out of his back.
And then there's Falcon. It's like,
Falcon was never a mutant or superhuman in that way. He had a flight rig. He had like a costume that I think had the wings at first, and then eventually Wakanda, Black Panther, gave him a cool flight rig so he
in
could
the
actually
comics?
fly.
That happened
Yeah.
in the comics? Oh, so
Yeah.
so he never was a guy with wings sticking out of his back or whatever.
I mean, the flight rig he had looked like wings,
Yeah.
like these little red wings he had on his things.
Oh,
So
okay.
it didn't look like as techy as they do in this show and in the MCU.
Okay.
But they were never actually real wings.
Okay. So I take that back. He was never a dumb guy. I guess Falcon I don't really know enough about. I think I was getting him mixed up with Hawkman.
Yeah, Hawkman is
Possibly.
DC for one thing.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Oh.
and Hawkman is depending
Thanagarian?
on which version of Hawkman you were into. He's either a guy who was born in like ancient Egypt and who has been reincarnating with his soulmate over and over and over and over and over again, and through modern times, and they always find each other and have this true magic love. Then they get killed by some reason, and then it all starts over again in different bodies. Or he's an alien from the planet Thanagar. Who,
All right. All right.
yeah.
Enough about Hawkman.
See, like I said, like Hawkman is a mess.
Yeah,
Like-
well, I mean, we'll
like
get into
one
that.
of the most well-known continuity messes in all of comics. Is
Really?
Hawkman. Yeah.
Really? That's like a thing? That's like a thing nerds know?
Yeah, like you try to explain the history of Hawkman, and you can't do it succinctly.
So
You have
so
to.
here's what
You can do it with magic. It's just magic.
So
Things.
if I find myself at a nerd mixer, say I'm at
Nerds don't mix.
say I'm at a comic book convention and we're having drinks and there's super nerds and I go up to someone and be like, boy, how about that mess that Hawkman continuity mess, huh? And I have a drink, like I'll seem like I'm in the know.
Yeah,
Possibly.
you probably
You
could.
would be in the know, but you would also be looked at oddly. Like, why is he talking about that right now?
Why is he? Well, what if I go up to somebody who's in cosplay as Hawkman?
Okay,
Then that's risking a conversation that's not going to end. If you go to a cosplay guy cosplaying as Hawkman and say, "Hey, explain Hawkman continuity to me."
So, are you saying only assholes cosplay as Hawkman?
No, I'm saying guys who are really interested in Hawkman and like talking about Hawkman
Are assholes?
and no,
no, that's not what he's saying.
They never
Nice.
shut up. Well, all nerds.
If you approach a guy who is wearing his nerd flag proudly and ask him about his specific nerd shit, he's going to want to talk to you about the nerd shit.
So,
He's
like,
gonna be enthusiastic.
so if Tiffany, like, if I walk up to Tiffany, I don't know her, but she's Harry Potter, and I start talking about a mudblood and a muggle, she's gonna be like, "No, you didn't," and like yell at me, like really talk for
Wouldn't
20
yell
minutes.
at you. First of all, I don't really yell at anyone.
Not yell at
I'm
me,
a
but-
kind soul.
No, I guess what I'm talking about is you'll talk for
Yeah.
20 minutes. Like you'll talk. If I said mudbloods are better than muggles, you'll talk for 20 minutes.
I may talk to you, engage in a conversation for a long time. If I think you are having a conversation, if you're just a random dude who's drinking a beer and yelling random Harry Potter things at me, I'm gonna keep it walking and be like, this dude is weird.
What
And
point
keep
to
going about
Gryffindor?
my cosplay business.
Well, what if I look like Chris Hemsworth?
I mean, that would be unfortunate for you to be that ridiculous and look like Prince Hemsworth, but I would.
What if he looked like Chris Hemsworth but dressed as Draco Malfoy?
Oh no, can't do that because then you woke up and decided to choose war. So no.
All right, that's okay.
Although
So
if you did look like Chris Hemsworth, you could pull off a Hawkman costume because
Yeah.
he's generally shirtless with a harness.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He
See?
would look. Yeah, he would probably. Anyway, all that to say, okay, we're back to. We're into Falcon, so
Yeah,
Falcon,
I can segue that because Falcon's history is a little bit of a mess as well.
Oh, it is?
A little bit, yeah. Because, all right, he was created in 1969 by Stan Lee and Gene Colan in Captain America number 117.
Now, Gene Colan is the illustrator on this, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And although, collaborators, because
Yeah.
They come up with it
it's
together.
not always a hard line between writer and artist. They do a lot of collaboration work, and they feed off each other and things like that. It's a real team thing.
Wow, Falcon's been around since '69, huh?
Yeah, and he's debatably the first African American superhero in mainstream comics. You'd say Black Panther; he was introduced beforehand, but he's not American; he's just African.
I thought Black Lightning was in the '60s.
At some point, I don't know. I think he was in the 70s.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah, you're right. He would have been in the I guess he would have been in the '70s. I know we
I mean,
covered
technically,
it on the
there
Red
was. I just looked this up. There was an issue in like 1947. An issue of All Negro Comics was the name of it. It was all African American writers and artists, and there was a character named Lion Man in that, who would be, I think, technically the first.
Oh,
But
But mainstream
that's
comics
not
aren't going to
mainstream,
claim
'cause-
that.
yeah.
I think there's
Even
only
though
ever
it's
been-
probably dope AF,
Yeah.
they probably won't claim
It
it.
looked dope AF. I just read the synopsis of it.
I
But,
wonder if that would ever make a comeback or could make a comeback, because I bet a lot of people don't even know that exists.
It probably wouldn't have the same name, I imagine.
Can you
No,
get
but there's a
separate.
good
Yeah,
share
right.
of Black content creators now.
And DC has been trying to bring back their Milestone imprint, which basically would you would get like your Static Shock, your Icon, like these Black DC characters, or kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say obscure, but like right on the cusp of like, oh, Just like Static Shock, for example. Static Shock has had a television show, so like he's kind of known. Some people know about Icon, but they don't know a lot about the whole Milestone imprint. So
Was
DC
And then you
trying
have
to revive them.
you have when I went to the Hero Con here, I met a creator. Their comics are called Tuskegee Airs, which is pretty cool. I got a few of those. So you have up and coming also. You know, we're in 2021 where a lot of content creators are coming from everywhere and creating
I
their
follow
own
a
things.
couple of people on Twitter, a couple of black comic lines on I think Twitter and Facebook as well.
So all that to say, it doesn't necessarily have to come back, Joe. I think we're just in a time where people have decided to create their own works, and we're not waiting on Marvel or DC to let them showcase any black superheroes.
So those,
and also with stuff like that, you end up having its own kind of following. So it's not. It ends up being kind of sort of like underground ish. But then you still have like, you know, we all know mainstream, but then there's like a whole sect of people who like know exactly, you know, this book, that book. They go to the comic book store, they look in the indie books and they find that book because, you know, they're in the know about it. It just in mainstream, it's not. So, because everyone's looking for movies type based stuff. It's like that's what you tend to find more.
Well, that brings up a question that you guys may have touched on, but it's just my brain is so slow. So the comic book, I guess, where would somebody get stuff like that? So like those old '60s comics that aren't, they're indie, or those are like a different. It's not under Marvel or DC. Where do they?
Comic shops have indie books.
So you go there and they have like that old of though, like they have like '60s, like
they'll probably be like reprints for the most part. Like if they ever been reprinted, and they might have original copies, and they'll usually be like behind the counter and protected and a little more pristine.
They bring them out in like with gloves on and a suit.
Not so much that, but they put
they
them in a
don't have
plastic
a
wrap.
hazmat suit on, but they do carefully handle things that are very expensive.
But like if you were if you were really interested in getting those, like
go to Heroes Con.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because so
a
at
lot of
Heroes
conventions
Con,
like that.
well, that's a good question too. So at those cons, I know that. Well, I guess I don't know. There's all these booths and things, right? And so there's collectors that bring all their shit, and are they just selling them or are they trading? Like, is it like, can you walk up and be like, "Hey, I'll give you my Wolverine #1 if you give me that 1960s"?
No, there were no trades that I saw. And it's not just collectors. So you have your collectors, you have your original content creators, you have crafters who take popular things and turn them. Like there was one booth that did all kitchen accessories and different, nerddom. So you have whatever you can find in nerddom. Yeah. It is there, whether it is collectors or content creators with merch or artists or, crafters. It was great. Listen, I miss it. I just pulled out. I had a pin I got the other day, and it's fantastic. I can't wait till it makes a comeback.
It's like there'll be a lot of like various nerd stores, regional.
Yeah,
will like pack up a bunch of their stuff and try to sell them there. They'll sell their back catalog.
Yeah,
most of the time it's Gold and Silver Age that gets the most attention, which is the originations of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But they'll have boxes after boxes after boxes of back issues and things you can look through and see if you want to find something. Sometimes it's just, excessive stock from 3 weeks ago, and other times it's you can find a lot of stuff from like the 70s or the 60s or
and you also,
like
Joe, we live in the age of the web, so you can find just about anything on the web by searching it. Listen,
and you might
eBay got everything. You need it? Go look on eBay.
Yeah, right.
Somebody got it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. That thing that Art has, that membership or whatever it is that you can read comics online. It's like a certain amount a month. Art was saying, and they even have
like Marvel does it, Comixology, DC,
But DC has it, Marvel, and some of the indies, right? Is there like an indie group that you can get all indie stuff? And so,
Comixology has like a lot of indie books on it, and they're owned by Amazon.
They're what?
They're owned by Amazon now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
So you could probably find those to read that lion character you're talking about. I could probably find them online somewhere. I'm
I mean,
willing to
if
pay.
you
There was
dive,
like
maybe.
one issue of that ever, but I'm sure it's someone has it preserved.
Someone can find it.
Yeah. And in some cases, like I was looking up Captain America #1 just to read the actual first issue, and it's just Captain America #1 PDF.
Yeah.
And I found like a PDF online that had it, and I could just actually just read it. Right
Now,
there.
do you think that was illegal for you to look at that technically, or?
I don't think so. It's so old; it might as well be in the Smithsonian. Which I think it's,
So it's like one of those, like like if you read a script from
Public domain.
19
you think,
public
you think
domain,
Captain
yeah.
America #1 is in public domain?
guess.
Disney is not going to let that ever be public domain.
Right.
Like
No.
it should be public domain by now,
Yeah.
but Disney keeps saying no. Please, all our trademarks should be public domain, but let's change all the laws, please. Here's money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Sorry. I know that was a lot of dumb questions, like nerddom. Just because I don't.
You don't know the
Okay.
culture.
One more nerd question. Has there ever been a thing where, like, at either a Comic-Con or a comic shop, where somebody's in there looking through the valuable 1960s comics and they just like yoink and they run out the comic store, run away, and there's a big heist, and then there's like
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Actually-
I'm sure it's happened.
actually, when I was living in California, the comic shop I used to go to, they had in a glass case, they had a copy of, I think it was Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man.
yeah.
It was all locked up and sealed up, and then I saw actual footage. It was on the news. Some guy in a Spider-Man mask walked in, hammered through the glass case, and stole comics
Oh my
out of the glass
gosh.
case and ran off.
Wow.
Insane.
I don't know if they ever caught him either.
I don't
because
know
he
if
was wearing
I
a
love
Spider-Man mask.
anything enough to break the law for it. That is just me.
I don't know.
As a
Hilarious.
person.
I would like to see the thing that Tiffany loves that much that she'll break the law to get, like the comic, whatever.
No, I don't. Listen, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not going to jail for nothing. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not. Never.
We talked about you. Tiffany's not making toilet soup. We've talked about that.
But I work very hard not to be going to jail for things. And if I do, it's not going to be because I took something,
Yeah.
because I just felt like I needed it. If
Well,
I'm going
yeah.
in, I'm going in because I did something like murder somebody.
Well, I think
All
we
right.
got the plot of the Nerd School movie that we're going to do someday. Somebody
Yeah.
steals a comic and they hire us to investigate.
Boom.
long as the
Like
subtitle
it. True
is
crime,
toilet soup.
nerddom, all in one. Let's
Yeah.
do this. Screenwriters, please contact us.
Nerd
Well,
school.
That's it.
Fight to
And of course,
avoid toilet soup.
at some point in time, I would be like the Hayward in the story.
Yep.
You know.
That's not even a question. We know.
No,
We
Tiffany and
already
Art
know.
are like you guys are like the buddy cops that argue all the time.
I believe if we were mutants, I mean, I totally identify with Magneto and that type of mutant.
Okay.
So I'd be doing stuff for the greater good. It's just I'd be going about it the wrong way.
I
Well,
don't
it's good that you know
if-
that it's wrong, but you're still doing it.
right. Like if you know ahead of time, it's the wrong
Hey.
way.
Sometimes you gotta break a few eggs to make a chicken.
No.
Break a few Easter eggs.
Art
No.
Star, bringing it back to the Easter chickens.
God bless it. Can I just one thing? I know I'm going back to Falcon, and what I really
That's what we wanna
appreciated,
do.
like
yeah.
the action stuff is cool, but what I love is when he goes back to life. Right?
Mhm.
It's like here you are, decorated hero. Go back home. You are not. People are like that bank scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got to me because it's like, oh my God, it's you. You're great. No, I can't help you. Which is like
which scene did you say?
The bank
when
scene.
he goes to the bank with
Oh
his
yeah,
sister.
yeah.
But it's
yeah.
like the banker is like, oh my God, it's you. Oh, all these things you did. How
Can I get a
fantastic.
selfie? Yeah.
And then it's like, no, I can't help you. And for me, that I know I think it's gonna play into a few things into the storyline. I think we have some tinges of racial issues, but it also covers like what happens to heroes when they go back home, right? What happens to, and I think the series is gonna dive into that. Is what I'm excited for. We're seeing a bit of it already.
I
Like
love
what
that.
happens to you when now you're like regulated to regular life, and people
Yeah.
are still like, oh my God, but you don't get any benefit from it.
And like I think a crucial point is where he goes, "Where do I know you from?" It's not
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, you are." It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I
Are
know
you a
you?
sports guy or are you on a movie? You know.
So there's an element of second tier
Yeah.
superheroes too that aren't the big names.
Even the whole where do you go, but where you go from kind of aspect of the show, like the next few series that we're getting, it's like not even just the answer in the big picture of like where do you go as a hero once everything's over, like in times of quote unquote peace, but you're
Right.
also dealing with like we're getting more of the aftermath that we didn't get from Far From Home of the blip. So it's like here's Falcon comes back. He has like real life shit going on.
Right.
Bucky is dealing with all types of PTSD and
Right.
social anxiety issues or whatever.
God bless
So it's like
him.
you're getting more, like they're heroes, but they're also being humanized more. So
Yes.
I think that's
Totally.
a great thing.
And I mean, we are in a time in this world where everyone's story needs to be humanized because, some people have a hard time seeing individuals as humans. And I think like it's not light stuff, right? It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Falcon's family's been like his legacy is at stake. Bucky's brain is at stake. Like his mental health and peace and surroundings are shaky. So it's not even light things that we're going into. It's deep stuff in a way that I think is great. Someone said same thing someone said about WandaVision, like, I wasn't that invested in these guys. No, that's the whole point of these shows, right? These shows right now are characters you might not have dived into because they're not the big hero. It's not Thor, so you didn't dive into it. It's not Iron Man, so you didn't dive.
Yeah.
But it's giving us who they are and it's giving us their story. And I think the way they're handling it and the writers and the way we're building, like giving us these issues that these two have, like I kept waiting for them to come together. And I know we have to build to that, right? But in my brain, I was like, when do they come together? But I love the building because I think it's necessary to know each one as an individual before we do anything else and what is really at stake for them. It is not status. What's at stake for each of them is nothing to do with their hero status.
Right. And it's and the fact remains that they don't like each other much, and so they don't want to be together. So
Right.
It's going to take a lot to actually bring them together for any reason in the first place. They get on each other's nerves.
Yeah, I just loved just what you guys said. Like, what resonated with me. I was remembering what Andy said about WandaVision. It was like this gave us a chance to delve into these secondary characters right away. Like with Falcon, especially, I was like, I feel like he was always forgot about. I actually forgot even all about him until you guys kept mentioning Falcon Winter Soldier's come. Falcon. I was like, I don't even remember who that was. But Anthony Mackie was great.
Anthony Mackie.
He was fabulous in this. And I remember I was reading some stuff about him being scared. He was being nervous that he was like, I don't know if I can carry a show. Like, I'm afraid to let down the Marvel fandom. Like, I don't know that I'm the guy. But he was very charismatic. He's very good looking. Like, I think he was like, I felt like I was like, Anthony Mackie did it. Like, I was like, I mean, I know it's one episode, but I was like, I care about his character and just the same thing. Like,
he's a good actor. Like on Friday, I watched Anthony Mackie twice. For work, we're working with some people on diversity, so we watched The Hate You Give because that's like been their book club, and he's a bad guy in that. And then I came in that evening to watch this, and I was like, two sides of Anthony Mackie in one day. A girl can dream. But I
that's
mean,
what Art was saying too.
Listen, he is a handsome man. Let's just go ahead and put that on the table. He is a handsome man. He is a handsome man.
One more time.
He is a handsome man. But he is also actually talented. And I think
he was good. It was good acting.
But I get his nerves though. Like you've been in these movies and you're watching again the mainframe characters be big and who they are and what they're written for. And so I could imagine that anybody coming into any of these TV shows having played, not main character would be nerve-wracking. I can't imagine but I'm glad the writers are giving them content to work with because it's
Yeah.
more than the action scenes. It's diving into he has really good acting skills. It's not just and Marvel
Yeah.
did this in general. Like these are good actors, not just handsome heroes. They're not just pretty women. These are actually good actors.
Right.
And I think that plays a lot into this. So I know he may have been nervous, but I was on here like, yes, sir. You better tell your sister you here to save family business. Yes, sir. You bet. That's right. Swoop in and say that man on that helicopter. You better do it. That was me the entire.
Well, I was like, what a great way to make us care about him by giving him a family and a sister who's struggling and he's trying to help her. And then the kids, like, I mean, that was a little Robert and Terrence right there. Like,
right.
With the
But
nerdy
it's also
kids playing
the
video games.
conflict. I think, didn't you just say, and it's a conflict of what happened when he came back. He was gone, right? So
that's the other thing. He's gone
top
for
of
5
their
years.
on top of their like brother sister conflict, family legacy, it's like
Yeah.
it's that conflict of I've been here in the trenches and you've been gone. So you have that extra level of conflict between the two. And I don't want to say conflict, but it's obvious like she has been doing all she can. And I think she says it to him like, you got to get over what you're trying to prove. Like, you got to get over that and just let things be the way they are.
She's been beaten up by it. He hasn't been beaten up by what she's been up against for 5 years. So he's still thinking, we can do this. We can do this. And he's kind of thinking he can maybe leverage his level of celebrity for a little help, and that doesn't work.
Real quick. So NBC has this show called Manifest, which the premise of this show is like there are a group of people who are on this it kind of rips off of Lost a little bit, but there are a group of people who are on this plane, and there's like this storm, and this plane disappears, like literally disappears.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then one day it comes back. So all these people, they come back, but it's been like 5 years. So like
But those people don't know that they've been gone. Is that right? Like it.
They don't.
No, they think they just were on the flight.
Yeah. So like there were twins, and like the boy was on a flight with his dad, and the mom and the daughter was still home. So the mom had literally moved on, was sleeping with one of like his best friends or whatever.
Oh man!
And it's like the daughter had grown up, so they came back. Like all these people that was coming back, everybody basically came back into a different life. Where the people who were left behind, they moved on. Where like I think so in the Marvel movies, it's like we're going to be like I love the fact that they're dealing with a lot of people already moved on, and you have the people who are just coming back who like to them it wasn't, but like what not Wanda Monica said like 20 minutes or something, 20 seconds or whatever it was. Whereas it's almost like 5 years could seem like a lifetime if you're missing, your loved ones. So like I love seeing like this whole struggle with like you have the people who coming back. Some might probably feel like they deserve some sort of leeway because they were gone. But then you have the ones who were still boots on the ground for all intents and purposes. And like just having that kind of interaction like makes these shows amazing to me.
Yeah.
And that there's like as we saw in WandaVision and that and even in the beginning of Endgame, that period of time was bleak as fuck for everybody.
Right.
Like they didn't bother to like try to rebuild like sports or anything like their stadiums are dilapidated. Everything is still fucked up. Like 5 years later, when Captain America is holding that little support group,
and
everything is still fucked up and miserable because half the people are gone. So that's 5 years of like heart that like the Hayward guy, the trash man from WandaVision. That's 5 years he's been doing his job through and getting the shit kicked out of him, beaten down and hardened. It's Sam's sister, the same thing. It's been beat down for these last 5 years. It's like Thanos' like the murder was erased, but he still had a big effect.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because like when you see Torres' character, where he mentioned like how the Flag Smashers, their MO is, they want things the way they are because they felt things were better during the blip. Whereas like you have like people who think that this was the best because we quote unquote, I guess the heroes wasn't heroing as much, so you didn't have. Even like Andy said, they didn't fix shit, but then you also probably didn't have as much, big battle, boom, 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 building fall, fly away heroically, and we got to pick up the pieces.
Well, I think part of that, I guess, just knowing what I know about what the Flag Smasher is about, I can get into that in a minute. But the Flag Smashers group, or Flag Smasher in the comics was a Captain America villain who was basically his thing was all national borders need to be abolished and erased. We have to live as one people worldwide because patriotism is bullshit. It breeds feelings of superiority over each other and creates wars and all this shit.
Well,
he's got a point. Even Captain America's
he's not
He's
wrong.
not wrong.
you have a point with what you're trying to do. Global cooperation is a good thing. Just stop being violent terrorist about it, and
Right.
we can maybe do that. And he's like, nah, I'm crazy. But
Here's my great point, but I'm going to go about it in the most violent, ridiculous way. Sound
Yeah.
familiar, Art?
yeah, it's a little Kylo Renish. But yeah, I guess during the blip, you'd think the world worked together better. Probably with half of everybody's population gone.
Resources, yeah.
Resources were probably more pooled. Either that or it got way more tribal, and that probably varies on where.
I got a question
where
about
you
the
live.
blip then. I guess maybe I didn't understand it as much. I guess maybe I should have learned this from WandaVision. But so with the blip, it wasn't just superheroes that were missing for 5 years. There was a civilian.
It was half of the population of the entire universe.
Were just gone.
Just wiped into ash.
It was a culling.
And they all came back.
Yeah, Thanos went like that.
Yeah.
Tore the thing out of Vision's head, put it on his hand, went like that. Thor tried to kill him before he did it. He didn't go for the head, so Thanos went, fuck you. Snapped, killed half the population of the entire universe, every planet.
Yeah.
As far as the galaxy.
Wipe out.
Including Earth, including animals, including plant life.
Even
Yep.
Asgard.
Shit like that. Even Asgard was destroyed by that point, and I think it's even mentioned because at the beginning of Infinity War, he attacks the Asgard ship to get Loki's Mind Stone.
Even half of Eternia?
And I think he even killed half of the people on that ship. But then he blew up the whole ship.
Half of Middle Earth was gone too.
Everybody was cut in half.
So that's everybody.
Yeah.
Half of the world's population.
So
of 7 billion.
Got you. So that hospital scene in WandaVision when everybody's snapping back, it's like mass chaos because everybody's
It's like, what are all
again.
these people? Yeah.
Because no one outside of the people fighting that fight in Endgame know that's about to happen, or that might even happen.
Yeah, right.
And
They
it's
just
right before that
disappeared.
battle starts that Hulk is the one who brought him back, and then Tony Stark used it again to kill everybody.
This all happened in
Thanos'
Endgame? I know I
Yeah.
saw that movie, but I don't remember
again-
understanding that happened. Again, that's not how I watch movies.
It's
so.
because you didn't watch movies to pay attention. You were watching movies for fight scenes, and if they were fighting, you were like, cool. And then you didn't pay attention to any of the things that were happening between the fights, Joe.
Well, you know
Like,
what,
look,
Tiffany?
here's a book. This book doesn't have any pictures in it. I don't read this.
Skip, move, picture. Skip,
That's
skip,
right.
skip.
Hey, that's right. But I represent a big percentage of the population. You
Yes.
Who
guys.
should not be proud of that.
I'm not proud of it. But there's a lot of me's out there that also saw those movies and have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, hopefully those yous are going back. I know a lot of people in quarantine went back and watched Marvel, some in different orders. There's a lot of people watching in chronological order, not from filming, but chronological in timeline. We're watching, I will note to people, we're watching in order of released. But I think a thing that this crazy time we're living in did was allow people to go back. And I'm hoping they're paying attention because, you're home. And you are lucky that you have people to talk to about it who can be like, no, Joe, that's not it. And then we're recording it so other people can go, no, that's not it. And they can feel with you. The correction.
Or some people can listen to it and be like, oh, thank you for telling me, nerds.
Yeah.
Which segues into my next point is the three of you need to start a service called Ask a Nerd, where if you want to anonymously not look like an idiot, but ask these questions to Ask a Nerd, just call this 900 number, and either Art, Tiffany, or Andy will answer, and they will answer your stupid question, and nobody know, and they're bound by confidentiality, so they won't tell anybody your stupid question, or at least that it was you that said it.
I'm pretty sure this service exists, and it's called Google.
Right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but it's not. Sometimes a Google answer
It's
will
not explained the way it is.
Yeah,
so I'll say
it'll
this.
confuse
We'll put
you
it out
more.
there. If you have any nerd questions that you are not catching off Google, we have Twitter.
Yeah.
We have Instagram. You can ask us there, and one of us will answer that question to the best of our ability.
Or rate, review, and subscribe, and then answer the question.
Yeah,
Right.
we may convene and do a quick clip for you and send it to you in a way that's understandable.
Well, that said, I'm glad you said that because I also set up a Patreon. I'm in the process of setting a Patreon up for us.
Woo!
So that if people, one thing I offered that if we ever get any members that pay, we will do a live Q&A or something. We'll get on Facebook or somewhere, and we'll just interact with people who want to listen. So it'll be a time before that builds up, but I already set that up so that we can have that in the future. So because I think that'd be something people would want to do is just like BS with us, or even if it's not ask questions, just BS with us. But
right, we can have drinks, cocktails with nerds,
drinks with nerds. Yeah, cocktails with nerds.
Drink with nerds.
All right.
So
do you want to?
Yeah, real
I'm
quick.
Give you a little bit about the mess of. I briefly brought up that Falcon's backstory.
Yeah. Before we get to that, real quick, one thing I was just going to say on that whole point of Falcon and the blip and coming back from 5 years is, I really feel like like Tiffany said with that bank scene, I really feel like not only did that humanize them and make you care about them, but in a way, I don't know how to say this. I feel like it made this whole blip business, which is fantastical and not realistic much. It made it. It's so red tapey and boringy, sort of, that it made it real. Like it made it real for me. Like, of course there would be. They'd have to come up with some financial way. Kind of like we're coming through this pandemic. Like there's going to be all this pandemic insurance and like clauses in people's contracts on, extra pandemic pay or mental health issues from the pandemic and all this fallout. There's going to be commercials about, did you suffer from PTSD from the pandemic? I mean, there's going to be all these things. So, but it made it like a real thing. It made the blip seem more real, I guess, being that, I'm sorry, we don't have your financial record. We don't have your taxes for 5 years because, asshole companies will like penalize. Even if there was a blip and half the population disappeared, when you come back, your taxes, some tax asshole or insurance guy will screw you over, and it makes it real.
Money.
Like that's reality. It made it real.
It's always about money, Joe.
Yep. Like give somebody a money headache, and it makes it realistic to me. Yeah. So
give them a money. And I think I will also last note on that scene. There's going to be some tinges, I think, where we're going to see Falcon struggle with some things. Also, just being a black man in this stance.
Yeah.
It's not even just. It's the coming back home after hero-ness, being gone from the blip, and being a black man in the South. Like, it all, I think, is a play in this too, and how things are being treated. With who he is.
Right. I saw there was a brief featurette I saw with the showrunner. I believe his name is Malcolm. Oh, I forgot his last name.
Jamal Warner?
No.
Damn it.
It's like Spellman or something like that.
I'll find it.
Who said one of the things is going to be. One of the themes is going to be a black man dealing with the legacy of that shield.
Yeah.
Which makes me, like I said, I think the last time out, if they do the truth storyline where they, like, the black Captain America from the 40s and his descendants, if they go into that storyline, it's really interesting.
If you looked at the end credits when they were showing the little bells on the wall that was like ripped off or whatever, from what I seen, the black guy that they show like if she a snippet of him, that is what's his name, Bradley? What is it?
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, Isaiah Bradley. And then Carl Lumbly was supposed to be in this show, and they're saying he might actually play Isaiah Bradley.
Where did you see this in the end credits?
On the end credits, like if you look, like on the end credits has I watched it a few times, but the end credits has all these little different things like it was in Carl Malice. There's this one thing where it has there's one thing where it says Power Broker is watching, so you see like all these little things. There's like a tube that looks like it has super soldier serum. Like there was a lot of stuff on those post no bills, the wallpaper.
Now that's interesting because Carl Malice, I was doing the research. He's involved with
Torres,
the guy who shows up at the end, but he was also in the Netflix Jessica Jones series, season 2. He's like the reason Jessica Jones gets her powers. So I'm wondering if
is Carl Malice a character or an actor?
Yeah, he's a doctor who experiments on people, giving them superhuman abilities.
Oh,
and we'll get to the guy at the end.
So all this stuff you're saying, Art, are these Easter eggs that were in the credits that you're saying?
Yeah, they're in the credits. Yep.
See, I fast forward to see if there was a credit scene, and there wasn't, so I didn't look at any of that.
On these shows, like even like shows like these, even movies, whenever you see some paperwork on the wall or something,
yeah,
you're supposed to be reading it.
Okay.
I actually watched a new Rockstar Easter egg of this episode. Like the whole one that Sam and Don was I don't call him Don. Sam and Rhodey was talking. Like all of those names on the boards and things, those are like just like in WandaVision, names of actual people. Oh. So it's like it's one of those like it's a lot of nerdiness right there. But like whenever you see like any type of paper on the wall or something, you're supposed to be pausing and like see if you see some name you may or may not recognize because they throw shit in there like that.
Should have done that. I haven't done that yet.
Andy, you're not a real nerd.
But if you go in and look at the end credits, there's a lot of stuff that's on the wall that's like you don't miss if you're not really paying attention for because you're looking to see like if there's going to be an end credit scene or a mid credit scene or something. But you know it's some of the stuff might be nothing, but it's still just like. You know, you see like Brian Zemo's mask or whatever at one point. Really? So it's like you seeing, So it's a lot of shit on their walls. A lot of shit on the walls.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get Zemo's mask in this, but it'll be interesting to see what his history is gonna be.
Mm-hmm. All right, you gonna give us this background, Andy?
Yeah. The thing with
because I want to know, like, is the sister in the comics? Are the sister's kids in the comics?
I'm not sure about that much because I didn't see any mention of a sister. I know he's got a nephew that named Jim, who was actually like a major supporting character in the Hulk comics for a while in the 70s. And he was actually, he had a major storyline where he was one of the first, and I think it was the late 80s, he was a character who actually died of AIDS, and it was one of the first times the comics really addressed that.
Really? So one of those two kids could be. Did we get their names? I don't know if we got their names. Was one of them Jimmy?
I don't know.
Jim?
But he also had an uncle. No, where was it? Jim, his nephew. He had I guess maybe a brother named Gideon Wilson who was in this group called the Gamma Corps, who was hunting the Hulk because he blamed the Hulk for his son's death until he found out, oh no, he died of AIDS. What are you talking about? And I didn't do anything to him. And then he realized he was being a jerk. But Sam Wilson was originally from Harlem. And because pretty much everybody is New York centric back in the early days as well, because that's where the offices were, that's where they all lived, and everything was
what they knew.
But Anthony Mackie is from New Orleans, so I think he had some input in changing his background, so he's a little more natural fit into there.
Wait, Anthony Mackie, the actor, is actually from New Orleans. So
New Orleans.
That's what I'm saying.
New Orleans.
So now Sam Wilson in the MCU is from Nolans.
That's kind of cool, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So those kids' names aren't, they're Cass and AJ.
Okay,
So
so there could be another sibling in the mix somewhere.
Okay.
That we haven't seen.
But they, it doesn't.
Or they
mean-
might not even address those characters.
Yeah, they
'cause-
might not.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. But so his backstory was his father died when he was 9. He was killed trying to stop a gang fight, and then a couple years later, his mother was killed by a mugger. So he had a rough childhood, and then his history it gets kind of muddy because he was originally predicted he was a social worker. And he was like a bird nerd. He was a bird enthusiast.
Okay.
And
Bird
he used to
watcher.
train pigeons in his spare time. And he actually had like an actual trained falcon named Redwing. He had an actual bird, a trained falcon he could do. And then the original storyline was he answered an ad by some people in this tropical island near Haiti saying, they needed a trained hunting falcon to help survive on this island. So he goes and says, hey, I'll go on a cool tropical trip. But then it turned out everyone on that island was an ex-Nazi who used to work for the Red Skull, and their shenanigans happened. Then he turned against them and was trying to save the islanders from these Nazi people. And then that's when he met Captain America, who at the time had switched bodies with the Red Skull. The Red Skull does this a lot. The Red Skull somehow switches people's minds a lot.
This is in 1969.
Yeah, this was his first appearance, I believe. But then. But he was a social worker. And then like they sort of adjusted it to it. Like he wasn't. There's been occasional tweaks to that, but there was a bit in the 70s where the Red Skull had the Cosmic Cube. The Tesseract was originally in the comics called the Cosmic Cube, and it wasn't an Infinity Stone. It was its own weird thing that could manipulate reality. And the Red Skull was always about that. And he did something where he sort of rewrote Sam's history so that instead of being a social worker, he had turned to a life of crime out of anger at his parents' thing. And it was kind of this weirdly, it was in the 70s, so it had this sort of stereotypical street hustler, street pimp kind of thing going on. And his identity was Snap Wilson. That was his crime alter ego. They called me Snap Wilson. He was the coolest man.
As you said, a Red Skull like hypnotized him or something?
Yeah, but when it was first introduced, the Red Skull, it was as like he was revealing his true history was this. He was actually a criminal which was kind of not the best look for what to do with him.
Yeah.
But and then later, like I think like 20 years later, they said, no, let's change that back. Like the Red Skull wrote that history for him because that's what a Nazi would think his history would be.
Right.
And then they made the social worker thing his actual history, and like so they messed with his mind. They went back and forth a bit, but there was a long running joke for a while there that Sam Wilson, he used to be a pimp. And that was like the gag with him. But that's so if he goes undercover as a criminal or something like this, and he goes by the name Snap,
it's like a callback to that.
Yeah,
I love that the writers at the time when Red Skull was rewriting a history, it's like, what can we possibly do? Make him the worst stereotype. Go.
Yeah, like a complete.
Yeah, it was like very like you picture a cartoon version of a 70s pimp.
Yeah,
and like from "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," the guy walking around
with the fish in his shoes.
Yeah. Just it was
Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear,
right?
Yeah,
Huggy Bear.
Right,
A lot of people social workers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been moved back and forth.
Do we know? And this again is just me not knowing these movies that well, and I don't know that I've seen all of them either. So. Do we know much about Falcon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet? Like, we haven't gotten his, like, we know his, like, military history because that's how he bonded with Cap, and then he works at, like, the VA trying to coach people through PTSD. Which is that's social work. I mean, that's social work.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't know his, like, childhood, and I mean, we're finding that out kind of now, right?
Yeah. We know he lost his partner during the war. I think it was in Afghanistan he was fighting, and like he had a wingman, he called him, and at the time Captain America didn't realize they were talking about actual wings,
right?
But so like he has he suffered his partner got killed in the war.
That's all we know.
But they don't die. But that's a thing again. We don't dive deep into the history of secondary.
Yeah,
or not
you don't
main.
get a chance to really. So
Yeah.
that's what this.
Although he was like, you get bits and pieces. He's like living in a trailer. Like when Cap and Black Widow are on the run and they have no one to trust, they go to his trailer. He's living in a.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
It's weird.
And he.
But
lives in
Anthony
it,
Mackie is the only one who's played him in the MCU, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There
And
was
that's
no
not the
big
only-
Terrence Howard switcheroo.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's some other messed up stuff in his. Not messed up as that, but I mean, the Red Skull also used the Cosmic Cube to try to manipulate the Falcon to go after Captain America and fight him. And he gave him the power to have like a telepathic link with his Falcon, Red Wing, so he could actually communicate mentally with his bird and control it like that. And
My boot.
then later that power turned out to be like, oh, he's actually a mutant, so he should be like with the X-Men and stuff like that. But then they changed that back.
Oh.
Like, no,
So
not
they
really.
just didn't know what to do with him. This is what
Yeah,
it
they're-
is. They just didn't know what to do with him. So we've
Yeah.
got like 10 different versions of this guy throughout the comics.
So
Yeah,
so
let's try anything.
that would make me guess that as far as like the MCU, anything can really happen with them. Like they may or may not do any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Red Skull's already gone, so they're not going to do any of the Red Skull stuff, right?
But
Oh boy.
this is a theory I've had.
We
with,
saw Red Skull was in Infinity War in Endgame, wasn't he? Yeah.
yeah,
He's
he
back.
was in. He's banished to guard the Soul Stone, but then he could be anywhere now because the Soul Stone is gone. So maybe he's free from his obligations, and he could be out in space floating around as a weird, ghostly Red Skull thing.
Is that actor still alive? That
Hugo Weaving is, but I don't think he has any interest in being a part of the Marvel Universe, so they'll probably recast him. 'cause
What?
I don't think he didn't really like his one role in. It wasn't the same guy from Captain America: First Avenger that played him in Infinity War and Endgame.
it wasn't.
No,
It wasn't Hugo
guy-
Weaving.
no.
Fuck Hugo Weaving then, right?
You don't like Mr. Anderson.
I'm not
This-
going to watch another Matrix movie. He's canceled.
There's only
Are
been
you
one.
canceling him now?
I don't
But
know, aren't we?
But
Can't
maybe
we?
he doesn't want to play a Nazi.
Oh well,
I think that might be it.
I guess
know.
maybe that's. Oh,
But I have a
no,
theory
not
about
really.
this show. We've seen a bunch of preview clips of one of the Flag Smashers that wears the mask is sort of this red-haired woman with freckles named
Could be a sin.
Oh,
it could be Sin, which is the Red Skull's daughter. Or, I think I saw somewhere where they just sort of slightly gender bent the name of the guy who played the Flag Smasher character, the original Flag Smasher character, and said that was her name. But I have a feeling she's going to turn out to be some kind of Red Skull descendant. That could be pretty interesting.
That'll be an interesting twist.
I think I missed that whole part. The only Flag Smasher.
I don't know if she showed up. I don't know if we
she
saw
hasn't-
her in this
well,
episode.
you see it, and again, you see it on the wall when they're doing like the names of the people in the show.
Okay.
Like when it's going off, you see her. She's there.
I've just seen her in previews and promos and stuff. So, and then I'm going, oh, that's what Sin looks like.
Is
That's a
it
very
So
specific
we'll
look.
see. Yeah.
is it Sinead Phelps that played Latvian fan? There's somebody playing Latvian fan.
No, no.
that mean
Her
anything?
name is Erin Kellyman,
No,
I believe.
yeah, she's not. Like you see a picture of her literally on the wall.
Oh, Erin
Like
Kelly.
when it was going. Yeah.
It says she played Carly Morgan something. Morgan.
Yeah, and the original Flag Smasher in the comics was named Carl Morgan.
Oh,
something.
I see. That's what you think it was a play on that.
Yeah, that might be the cover story.
So are you about to get to the Flag Smasher bit? Because I know you talked a little bit about it. Like the Flag Smashers want there not to be any borders, but is that big giant dude supposed to be the big long haired guy with the mask on? Like supposed to be something?
Well, there's been a
Let's
few
kick
different
everybody's
Flag
ass.
Smashers. but like they're all based on like the main dude. He was created in 1985 by a guy named Mark Gruenwald, and who wrote Captain America for like 10 years. And he was one of the biggest Marvel boosters and nerds going. But the Flag Smasher was originally like he was the head of a group called Ultimatum, which is actually an acronym for the Underground Liberated Totally Integrated Mobile Army to Unite Mankind.
Sheesh.
Which is basically there should be no borders, there should be no patriotism, and we're going to use terrorism to achieve our goals. So they're always like, it's kind of those villains who. But then, like, he found out that the Red Skull was funding him, and he's like, ah, shit, I can't be funded by Nazi fascists. So he actually eventually teamed up with Captain America to stop the Red Skull.
But the Flag Smasher is supposed to be that long-haired guy that's fighting everybody. That's hard to beat up. Like, kick the shit out of
what I get from it is I don't think it's going to be the Flag Smasher. I feel like Flag Smashers are going to be almost like the 99% kind of thing. Yeah.
They're not going to name them Ultimatum and introduce that ridiculous acronym.
But that big dude wasn't somebody like he like really couldn't like that guy tried to fight him and he like destroyed him.
I think it's going to play out in a storyline because there's a moment when Falcon is talking to his homie and he was like, "You don't think you don't." So my theory is there is some superhuman strength in that fool.
Yeah.
And if we're going with the Carl Malice, the Power Broker thing that Art was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Power Broker is a guy who, it was like a company that Dr. Carl Malice worked for, I think, that, he would experiment on people and give them superhuman powers. So there could be a whole lot of Flag Smashers who have these powers.
So I think it'll be something.
Yeah, that could come into play. And especially because, well, I'll save that until we get to the last shot.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. Like, I think I was lost. There was a lot of things that I think I either didn't remember from movies or something that were a thing that I could tell were supposed to be a thing, but I was like, I don't know what this is. And one of those I think was that guy at the end. But another one was I think right at the beginning, and I've gathered since that this is something from the movies that they clearly did. But at the beginning, when he's like, it doesn't feel like, it feels like it's somebody else's, and he's like, it's not. That's Captain America as an old man, right?
Right.
Did we see that in one of the movies?
Yeah, it was the end of Endgame.
At the end of the Endgame, we saw Chris Evans with like age makeup on as an old man.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did?
You don't even remember that. You don't even remember that.
I don't know.
A fight scene. Why would he remember?
I don't.
And he gives him the
No one was
case
fighting.
that case he puts the shield in is from the movie.
I don't know if I saw.
And he looked a lot like Joe Biden, oddly enough.
Oh, really? Well, I guess he would.
Maybe Joe Biden is Captain America. Guys.
Whoa, what if Joe
awesome.
Biden? He's falling down the steps in Air Force One.
He let his age catch up to him. Shoot.
So I was thinking I'm so smart at the beginning because I had my subtitles on, and it was like that old man's voice, and it said Steve said that. I was like, oh, that's Captain America. I can't wait to drop that knowledge at Nerd School. They're going to be so excited. And then later I don't know how I gather that that's from a movie. It's actually from the movie, and everybody knows that. I don't know that I might not have saw Endgame. Maybe I saw. I don't know. I know I missed.
You'll get to see it. I mean, the thing is, though, even if you hadn't, this episode does just a really good job of setting up.
Yeah.
Here are two guys, and poor Bucky. We haven't even talked about Bucky yet, but this show does a really good job of saying, here are two guys, both linked to Captain America.
Yeah.
Both coming home post blip. Even if you didn't know there was a blip or understand the concept of the blip, you know that here are two guys who are coming home from something. They are both carrying horrible past. Yeah. Not horrible, but bad things have happened, and they're trying to navigate where we are right now.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that's a good thing about it. So.
Yeah, I think Marvel's being smart. They're not banking on everyone who watches these shows on Disney Plus to have watched all of the movies.
It's so funny to me now that you guys have taught me so much with watching these shows. watching people I know on Facebook comment about, like, I have friends that are still just now watching WandaVision that I know aren't super nerds. I know they don't know what they're watching, and they're all like, those first 2 episodes fucking sucked, but everybody told me to keep an eye. And then somebody just finished it, and he was like, yeah, it was good. I'll give it a C, but those first 3 episodes were bullshit. And they still don't get what they saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're not watching with you guys. So it's like they don't have a dial-a-nerd to understand it. So they're just watching it like me.
But
like
that's also cool because there are people who are never going to be into this, right? There are a number of people in this world, in this universe, who are never going to give a damn about a Marvel character. No one is going to care about poor little Batman's heart and his vengeance need. No one is going to care about his toxic relationship with the Joker. No one's going to care about Thor. No one. There are people in this world who have no idea any of this, and they're just fine, right?
Yeah,
they are just fine. They don't even know. I think Art and I one day were talking at an event, and we were going into Star Wars, and there's a particular volunteer. She was, I don't know what you guys are talking about, and we were like, that's fine. Like, it's totally fine. So I think the good thing is, even though these people are watching it and are like, I only give it a C. One, Disney don't care because you still watched it, so they viewership.
Right.
You still put money in their pocket. And 3, they have enough fandom to be all right. If Disney has nothing else, and Marvel has nothing else, they got enough fandom to, even if you piss off the fandom, they still gonna plug in and say, "What you about to do now? What you about to do now?" Even if you made them mad, they will be there because they are invested in these things.
Right, and they're at this point now where they're trying to do so much with diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
So they automatically can give you some shit, but as long as people see it, they can recognize or identify with a character in the show. Like, hey, I'm gonna watch this because I get her, I get him. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question for you guys, Tiffany and Art.
If everyone was into this, there wouldn't be a name for people who are into this.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The word nerd
That's a
wouldn't
good
mean
point. But Tiffany and Art, I want to ask you guys, like, being that you said, Art, you notice they're doing more of this. Do you guys see it making it, like, I know with you guys, you're more like, it's about time. Like, you're nerds who are already nerds, and you're like, it's about time. Thank you. But are you seeing people in the black community that are sort of like on the fence or starting to become nerds, maybe, or like giving it a chance? Because I don't know.
I wouldn't say they're becoming nerds.
Yeah.
I'd say it's one of those things where like people are now more open to say like, okay, it's okay for me to like this.
Okay.
Like, I can like this and not be made fun of or not be shamed because, I think that this is a cool bit of something to look at or something to get into now.
Okay.
I will say this about black people. We will rep our people, okay? If we do nothing else. So even if we don't like superheroes, if you say Anthony Mackie got a new TV show, you know how many black households tune in to watch Anthony Mackie on that TV show? Just like when Black Panther came out and we all showed up. It's because we will rep our culture and any representation. But you also have to remember, we exist whether or not mainstream says, okay, like, David Schwimmer got in trouble because he was like, oh, it'd be great to have a black version of Friends. We did. It was called Living Single. Like, we had that already. You didn't know it existed because you were over here in your white bubble. So the trick also, Joe, is it's not really about time. Like, we've been here. We got our own heroes. We got great TV shows. We have great content and always have. It's just whether you guys are tuning in or not. And if you switch one of our things to the mainstream, it just means more of us are going to show up because we have this undying need to prove the system wrong, right? So if you tell me that movies with black leads won't be successful, everybody and their grandma showed up to Black Panther as oh no, we gonna show up. Not only did they show up, go back through the Instagram photos. They showed up in their finest. Hell, I even had on a tribal print pants. We gonna do this. We gonna do this. I had on a Black Panther t-shirt and tribal print pants. Because if we showing up, listen. If I do nothing else, I'm gonna dress up for the occasion if it's on theme. But we will support our people in quality things. Period. And we always have. And so it's not going to make anyone a nerd now. I think artist writing that. It'll just be like, oh, it's okay to like it. And some people will pull an Art, like Art watches those CW shows that he doesn't always love. He just keeps watching it because he feels obligated to. That's gonna happen with somebody. They're gonna listen. Anthony, listen, I gotta support Anthony because they're gonna be like you, Joe. That's my close personal friend.
Yeah,
so
right.
I gotta tune in to show up for him.
Well, my thing is,
I will say there was every once in a while I go down the rabbit hole of like reaction videos of people they'll watch a trailer and respond to things. And there was a period of time I was a big fan of the Black Panther comics of the 90s, and the fact that there was a Black Panther movie at all, because those kept getting almost canceled the whole time I was reading them and really loving them. It was just blowing me out. I was super excited about it. So there was a couple nights or so where I just spent a lot of time watching Black people react to Black Panther trailers, and the sheer joy, the sheer happiness, and just exuberance of seeing this level of the Marvel budget applied to
because we were being seen, and we were being seen in a light of royalty. Like, listen, we are kings and queens, and though the world has tried to strip us of that and pulled us from our homes, what that movie did for a lot of people was remind us, no, we do have. Yeah, damn right I said Black Girl Magic. Be quiet. You're just jealous. You've been trying to steal my magic from jump. This movie was one of those things where it not only showed us, right? It showed us it wasn't a tragic love story of two Black people who couldn't get together. It was a story of family, essentially. And there was good and there was bad in the family. But it was also a story of roots and ancestry. And I think, again, my mama was so hyped to watch Black Panther, and she had no idea that it was she didn't know nothing. And I don't know what I was like, Mama, he been existed. It just wasn't a movie. He's not new. She's like, by the time he was around. Yes, by the time they made the film. I agree. But it was like having that conversation with her because she wouldn't know that there was comic books that he existed in. Right. But she was just as hyped to show up. I mean, I was in a play at that time. The director canceled rehearsal.
Yes.
Opening day, so that we can all go see the film if you can get tickets into the theater, because it was selling out all the time. So it did something for the culture that was grand, but it wasn't a new thing, because we've been creating content for ourselves, whether you guys tune in or not, for a very long time, and good content. So, side note, if y'all have never watched Living Single, go back and watch it. That show
I used to watch Living
really
Single.
Good.
You
are rare.
I've always loved. I love Kim Fields though.
You love Tootie.
I love Tootie. I just love Tootie. Ever since she was like, "Ooh, you're in trouble. Make it double from Fashion." Anyway, but no. I guess what my question is do you think Marvel did Marvel gain fan did Black Panther make Marvel gain fan? Is there people that'll be like, well, because of Black Panther, I'm now gonna go see, I don't know, Endgame or whatever it is.
I don't know. I don't know if
they may not even make that They may not even make that connection. Most people don't sit down and look to see what production company produced this movie, or
like I said, I had to explain to my mom that this was an actual existing character in for her. So I'm sure there's a lot of people like that.
Once you saw it, you saw all the other guy. Would you think? Did it bring a lot of people hey, now I'm gonna go back and see Thor and Hulk?
But Black Panther was pretty standalone.
Yeah,
right. You don't have to see any of those other movies
which is what they all should be. I think.
I mean, a lot of them are, but if you didn't stay tuned for post credits, you wouldn't even seen Bucky there. You wouldn't have made any connection. Or I remember sitting and I went by myself, and my seatmates were like, "She's not moving. We need to stay tuned. What's gonna happen, girl?" And I was like, "They're gonna give us a little something at the end." So she told her friends, "Don't move." She said they're gonna show us something, and they didn't even know what it was.
I wish we could find those ladies.
When he came out, I was like, "Ooh." But they were like, "What does that mean?"
Right.
But the thing is, you're right. They're not necessarily connected to Marvel. They're not even thinking. Now, I will say Marvel's bank account probably went up because Black Panther merch
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
probably increase like crazy.
Well, I bet I mean, that's a big thing. I think Marvel, I don't know if this is sinister or not, but they probably realized at that point, if they hadn't before, that black people's money spends just as good as anybody's money. And it's a lot of money, like you said, with the merch and everything. So I would imagine that would make, I have no idea what they're doing or how it works, but I would imagine that would, like you said, like cause an explosion of different black programming. Like, oh, now we gotta get this community,
I don't think it's gonna make Marvel do anything.
Because Marvel's owned by Disney.
Yeah. And
so maybe they already do that kind of. I don't know.
Well, Disney has done a fair share of having their last few princesses were not just white women. They've been doing a good job, and they've had different cultures represented before, but even with some problematic issues. But their last few, they've paid attention to what they're doing, their content on TV. We got Doc McStuffins, little black girl who's probably a doctor.
My daughter loved that. Doc
McStuffins is the jam. So I think they're well aware, but it comes with controversy, right? They're changing a ride in Disney World to the Princess Tiana ride because the ride has roots in one of the more racially insensitive Disney movies. Really? That caused a big fuss, but it was like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Princess Tiana can have a ride. But the same thing happened there too. Talk about culture, right? When Princess and the Frog came out, see how many black people went to watch that movie? I have no daughters. Me, my mother, and my sister were all in the theater that day watching Princess and the Frog because it was a black princess on screen. And again, if we do nothing else as a culture, we gonna show up. So there were generations of families in the movies that day. Because what we also do, because our money does talk, we will represent and show up for those things as a way just to say to Hollywood, like, yeah, you should do more of these things because we will show up. We do show up. You're welcome. And hopes that they do more. Not everyone is good with that. There's still a lot. There's still a lot of gatekeepers in the land of entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think you're going to see a
complete change.
No, but again, we've been making our own content for a very long time.
Yeah.
I can run you a list of great movies I'm sure you can catch that are predominantly black cast that you may have not seen before that are just like staples in our household.
Sweetback.
So that is not a staple in my house. But there were lots of great things that came out in the 80s and 90s. Listen, we dominated TV shows for a very long time.
Oh yeah,
Evening TV shows, we killed the game. But a lot of people didn't even watch a lot of those shows, and they're coming out now on Netflix and stuff, and people are like, oh. So we've been doing it. We've had the license, and I don't think whether mainstream catches on or not is going to stop us from making content. So I don't know if it turned into Marvel fans, but it also I would like to think it. I would like to think it planted a seed in other creators, not at Marvel's level, to start putting out more content.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's way more than I expected. That's a good.
Sorry, that's my soapbox. Listen, we start talking about diversity and inclusion, I'm gonna have 1,000 things to say.
I know. I should have. Yeah, I knew that would be loud, but no, that's good. That's I guess just what I wanted. I didn't think about that till we were talking about Black Panther. How did we get on Black Panther anyway?
Something about
Anthony Mackie. Well, you started segueing, Tiffany, and I didn't want to stop you, but you started segueing into who's the other guy that's not Falcon? Winter Soldier. Bucky.
I said poor us. We've been digging into Falcon so much on this conversation that poor
Bucky. I feel like this episode was a little heavy. It was more Falcon. I mean, maybe it was 50-50, but I feel like the Falcon parts were cooler than the
Falcon did more talking.
Yeah.
Bucky did a lot of quiet staring.
But Bucky is not a big talker, so
I've always been like, yeah, Bucky. Yeah, even before Bucky.
But you don't remember Winter Soldier at all, do you?
I don't think I saw Winter Soldier.
Yeah, you might change your tune with Winter Soldier because that's one of the better.
Well,
Marvel.
just I know I'm still, and I talked about this, and when I read those old essentials, and Bucky was such.
Oh,
a
you're just
dumb-
thinking of him as like the little teenage Robin type guy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But he's not that guy.
I know. I should.
He's
I should
much
give him a
more
chance.
than that guy.
But I also forgot when I was watching this. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's 100 years old," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. He froze too." And I was gonna ask you guys like, so like I know Captain America froze in ice, but Bucky also froze in ice. So anybody from the 40s that falls in the snow is frozen forever. Like
Not quite.
That's a little different on this point. On Bucky's thing, he fell from the snow. He was recovered by like he had been experimented on by Arnim Zola in First Avenger.
oh, in the 40s. Oh, they captured him in the 40s. They didn't just leave him in the ice for.
Remember in
like he
Captain
fell,
America?
and he was recovered and by Hydra, and like they basically brainwashed him.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay.
Made him an assassin.
You know what?
And then
We-
put
we-
him on ice whenever they didn't need him.
Ah.
So that's why he's still.
That's why
And then
he's
they
100.
unfreeze him
I
for
just
assignments
remember-
and then put him back in the ice.
We haven't finished Captain America, so Joe,
true.
because
I got some more notes.
he doesn't retain information. He probably doesn't remember that part.
I
of
only
Captain
retain
America.
information that you guys tell me. That's it. Everything else is out the window.
Well, after we finish Captain America and move forward, I don't even think you need the rest to really dig into Bucky. I think the things to note from this episode is we see him dealing with his PTSD.
Yeah.
We see him trying to make amends and working through his making amends in the best way he can. Some are questionable. And I think that'll be interesting to dive into more in his relationship with, some of the characters. We already see he's made friends with one of his victims' fathers. And that should
And he
be...
can't bring himself to tell him.
Well, that's what
that
I wanted
he
to
was the
ask
one who
you.
killed his son.
Yeah.
Is this old man and the girl behind the bar that he starts? That's I think he's dating, or they're thinking about, or they go on that date. Are they from comics, or is that just made up for this?
I haven't read enough of the more recent Winter Soldier stuff to say if it's an actual rip from the comics. But it's.
I doubt the girl is.
Might
I
as
feel
well.
like we're not going to... I mean, she's just moving the story along.
Yeah, I feel like she might just be there to illustrate how awkward he is.
Yeah.
How he doesn't know how to fit in with regular life anymore. Even though he used to in the first Avenger, he was the ladies' man.
Yeah.
Right.
He was the guy doing all that.
But now he's weird. He's got a metal
He
arm.
is that
he's
guy
100.
plus 100 years of murdering people like Tony Stark's parents and things like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to believe that he'd be like, "Hey, let's have some beers
Yeah.
and go on a flirty date." Like it doesn't seem. Like,
I mean, that's still part of him.
Yeah.
But
He doesn't really know how to put that. Listen, if you've lived years brainwashed as an assassin, hurting people you didn't want to hurt, and then you suddenly were trying to do good, how do you go back into society and be a decent human? You don't know. You don't know. I mean,
all you know is
utilize
smash.
therapy. Thank
Smash.
goodness he's in therapy.
Yeah.
Like thumbs up to therapy. But even he won't even fully be honest with his therapist. Side note to anyone, your therapist can't read your mind and can't help you if you don't talk. And so I think we see him like surfacely working through it and resisting the urge, because I think he knows in order to successfully he would have to dig in, and we can see he's struggling just in that one scene where he goes to the door where he thinks he has a resolution to tell him, because you can tell like when he's talking to her and she's like, oh, poor him, if he only knew, blah blah blah. So you can tell like Bucky's like, okay, working my nerves, gotta go, and he's knocking on the door and you think he's gonna say something, and then you see the picture on the mantle, and then he's just like, oh, I just forgot to give your money back. So I think parts of him are like, he's got that. First of all, his list is not short. Your Peepers list is not a short list to make amends for. It's a long ass list because he was doing some not great things.
So he,
for Hydra.
I'm gonna have to watch.
Zemo's
this again.
name is also on that list.
I love that you were reading the list.
Yeah. I was
I
reading
just
everything.
looked at the list, but I did not go into
Wait.
detail.
Zemo's name is on that list?
Zemo's name is in his book.
God, I gotta watch it again.
It's okay.
Huh.
And then, like in the upper right hand corner, you see why Nakajima. You see his name in the book, so their names in his book.
Yeah, and again, it's not little. So I think, Joe, even if you haven't
Yeah.
seen Winter Soldier or really haven't liked Bucky or gotten to know Bucky, I'll say gotten to
Yeah.
know Bucky, now, I think this show will let us in on some Bucky-ness that will help us care. Again,
Well,
humanizing Bucky, who is
I even,
questionably
gosh, I
human.
gotta say, I think because I don't like Bucky, the character, I've made up my mind a long time ago. I don't think I paid attention to his storyline. When Falcon was done, I just kind of like half paid attention because I didn't. Because I'll admit, this is stupid. I'm gonna admit right here, I don't know what you're talking about in this list. Like I don't remember a list. I don't remember.
Yeah, we're gonna.
All right.
So he's like
remember
Earl.
that.
He's like, my name is Earl, and he's got a list.
He's got a list of people. Like he was a assassin for Hydra and
I know
and,
that.
the Russians
yeah.
for 100 years.
Right.
And now he's free of that, and like the only way he thinks, or maybe his therapist thinks, he can get past all this is to try to make amends to the people in the families he's wronged over the last 100 years,
God,
which
how did I
includes
miss
this guy's son who he murdered. We get a clip of that in this episode.
We see
Yeah.
the
When he was-
murder. Did you remember that, Joe? Like you see when he busts through the windows at the hotel, and the guy's like,
And he
trying to
says
get
Hail
into his
Hydra
room.
when he killed the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Just
busts
like-
through the wall. Yeah, I remember that at the
Yeah, yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
That
And then,
guy,
like,
that
and he
old
goes-
guy's son is the
Yeah.
guy trying to get into his room.
Ah.
who says, "I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. Please don't kill me," and he kills him anyway.
I didn't. I did not. I'm gonna go watch it again because I didn't put those two. Now my daughter was like, she was throwing up during that. She was sick this weekend,
baby.
and I was like interacting, and I was like trying to watch it as I was
You're like
talking to her.
soft pat on the back while you're watching.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm
Winter
watching this
Soldier.
for. But well, no. Now Zemo was in this episode, right?
I don't think he was, but
Daniel
he's going to be
Bruhl?
in this series. Yeah,
Oh,
he's going to be in the series.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
But
so-
that makes it interesting if Zemo's name is on the list as someone Winter Soldier had wronged in the past. It kind of explains at the beginning of Civil War, Zemo is hunting down the Winter Soldier and hunting down the ways to control the Winter Soldier's mind. So he already knows who the Winter Soldier is, and I guess I hadn't really thought about why he knows who the Winter Soldier is. Because, he was like a Sokovian mercenary of some sort.
Right.
Or Black Op, or whatever, soldier of some sort.
So
And that plays into the comics, because there were two generations of Zemo that...
Well, didn't they kill his parents? Didn't his parents got killed because of something? Because when he's talking to I was gonna say Wakanda. When he was talking to Black Panther,
He's
little
talking
hair.
about his family was killed during Sokovia, during the Ultron thing. But there might have been more to it if the Winter Soldier... I might have to watch that.
But also, I will note about the list, because old girl in the beginning was on his list, and he wasn't apologizing to her. He was just setting the record straight also that he is no longer the Winter Soldier, and that he is Bucky, and all that. So I don't know if his list is all straight apologies, because the
That's
first...
true.
She was
It
on
could
the
also be
list.
shit I have to deal with.
Yeah, I think it is all encompassing of things to deal with lists, including people. Because she was on that list, and his target for her was not, like, he was sending her to jail, essentially. So, and I don't think his list is all like, I think him making amends is not just per person. It might be, like, with her, it was, she had control of something. He needed to take it back by putting her in jail. So I think amends might be different. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out with that.
Like it does. It makes me think of the comic history, because Bucky was the teenage sidekick to Captain America in the 40s, and he was thought to have died at the because they were chasing down Zemo's father, Baron Heinrich Zemo,
Right.
who was really big on furry collars, and the whole thing with the mask is like they invented this special glue gun called Adhesive X or something. But I think somehow both the father and the son, or maybe just the son, I can't remember exactly, there was some kind of accident where they accidentally glued their masks to their face, so couldn't they couldn't take it off anymore. And I don't think we're going to see that. But
so there were more than one
so
Baron Zemo?
when Bucky died, they were chasing Baron Heinrich Zemo, the elder Zemo. He was trying to send this experimental American drone plane over to Hitler, and so they had jumped onto the plane. and Bucky, they realized it was booby trapped or something, and Captain America dropped off of it, but Bucky couldn't because his uniform was stuck or something, and the thing blew up, and so Captain America sees Bucky die and then falls into the water and goes on ice. So that was a big trauma for him. But apparently Bucky did fall off. He fell into it's like the English Channel. They're in like London. It's not like the ocean. It's the English Channel I don't think is that big. It's between England and Europe. So Bucky goes on ice too. Like you said, in the 40s in comics, if you fell into water, you'd freeze and be in suspended animation.
Yep.
But then a Russian submarine found Bucky. They were looking for Captain America. They found Bucky. And then they took him back and brainwashed him and did the thing. So, Hydra didn't really have anything to do with it in the comics. But since he has such a connection to the Elder Zemo, I'm wondering if maybe they'll sort of introduce Heinrich Zemo in a flashback to the 40s or something. Like maybe he has something to do with that. Or not. And interestingly enough, I don't think this is going to happen in the books either, but depending on what happens in the Black Widow movie. But Black Widow has a similar history in the comics of being, no one really knows exactly when she was born, but I think she's been, preserved or something, too. She's at least, 100 years old as well.
What?
And sometimes she's actually been tied to the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. They fell in love with, Winter Soldier.
Scarlett Johansson's 100 years old, too?
We haven't.
Yes.
Well, we haven't seen the Black Widow movie yet.
Is indeed 100 years old.
She's married to Colin Jost.
Comic books, Winter Soldier was one of the trainers of Natasha Romanoff, and then they kind of fell in love, and then they kept having to get put on ice, and they were still kind of brainwashed and shit. But eventually, they both come to back in the modern age, and they go, "Oh yeah, we're both free. We can be Avengers and stuff." Well, I don't know if actually Bucky does become Captain America at some point. When Captain America gets assassinated. There's 3 dudes in this storyline who have been Captain America at some point. So that kind of puts the question as to who's going to wind up with that shield.
So is Falcon one of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Falcon has, Bucky has, and who else?
The dude at the end, John Walker.
Oh, yeah. So can we get to that, or we got more to cover? Because
one thing I would just want to mention, the dude, the agent, the Torres, Joaquin Torres, the guy who's at the beginning helping Falcon on the ground.
Yeah.
That guy, when Sam Wilson becomes Captain America in the comics, that guy becomes the Falcon. Because he's experimented on by Dr. Carl Malice and the Power Broker and made into this weird bird hybrid man. So I think he actually has wings.
Wait,
but that was, I don't know much about that guy.
There was 2 Falcons?
When Falcon became Captain America, some other guy became Falcon.
Somebody else has to become Falcon.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Oh, God, my brain hurts.
It's a lot, but it's great. It's great.
But yeah, let's get to, do you want to talk about John Walker?
Yeah, because I could tell at the end of that episode that was supposed to be like a reveal, and I knew nerds were sitting around laughing. Oh, my God, I can't believe that. I was like, what the hell is this? It looks like Kane. From wrestling.
I think that big reveal, it's less it's a new character as it is. Look at how much of a dingus somebody else wearing this costume looks.
Yeah.
Look at this guy's face. It's just like
this guy's
biggest dingus face.
I don't know if Joe would get a kick out of this or not. This seemed kind of like up Joe's alley. But when I first saw the dude, I was like, why does his face look really familiar under this cowl? It looks really, really familiar.
Yeah.
And I couldn't quite place it until I did some digging and found out his name is Wyatt Russell. His dad is Kurt Russell, who played in Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, oh wow. So just by his chin, it looks like Kurt Russell.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was like, I wonder if Joe would like this, because it's here's someone he possibly could be Kurt Russell, even though he's not Kurt Russell. But then I also thought Joe probably didn't know that Kurt Russell was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so that probably defeated the purpose.
I do remember because he was what's his name's dad, Chris
Star-Lord.
Pratt's dad,
Okay.
right? Star-Lord's dad or stepdad.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I didn't remember he was in it. I think of Big Trouble in Little
So
China.
In Joe's verse, that's the dad. His dad is
Let's
Star-Lord's
let's
dead.
not. And I thought we killed Joe versus one.
No.
I thought we nixed that pretty early.
Joe
on in
versus
the season.
Immortal.
Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah, no.
Joe versus will never die.
Go through the ending scene for Joe. I feel like this episode is going long.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the new Captain America. Like Sam donated the shield to the Smithsonian, and of course the government said it's ours now. We're gonna take that and make our own Captain America who does what we want him to do.
Yeah.
Who does what we want him to do.
I does what I do.
Yeah, like this is a storyline from Captain America where like somewhere in the mid '80s. Again, I think this is Mark Gruenwald, who the American government decides to tell Captain America, we own the rights to your likeness, your outfit, your whole thing. So you have to work directly for us.
Yeah.
There was a group called the Commission for Superhuman Activity, the CSA or something like that.
Okay.
And he's like, just like in Civil War, he doesn't want to be beholden to political agendas. Mm-hmm. So instead, which is kind of dealt with in this part of it, is dealt with in Civil War through Infinity War, where he gives back the mantle. He's like, I'm not going to be Captain America anymore. But I'm still going to do what I do, except I'm going to become just the captain. And he wore this sort of like a red, white, and black version of his outfit, which was predominantly black, and like red was still where the red was, but then there was a slightly different design.
All right.
But he just called himself the Captain, which is kind of what you see in Infinity War. The first time you see Captain America after Civil War, his outfit is all darkened. It's all muted. You can barely, like, the star is barely even there anymore. That was kind of an homage to that when he goes like that. And then so the American government in the story said, all right, well, Steve Rogers is gone. Let's hire a dude who will do what we say. And they took this character, the Super Patriot, who is a guy who'd been running around, who is John Walker's Super Patriot, who had been experimented on by Dr. Carl Malice and the Power Broker and given superhuman activities. And Joe, you might like this.
So he got the super serum?
No, it's some other process where he got
some other kind of way
strength
of
and
giving
stamina.
him strength. All right.
Yeah, and he was going to join the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, which is basically this is 1985. This is going on.
Oh
so,
yeah, when WrestleMania was huge. That was like WrestleMania.
And they haven't admitted they were fake yet, so that it was basically like a new federation of
not fake.
of wrestlers.
Wrestling is
except,
not fake. You're right, Art.
You have to have the superpowers to be in this wrestling federation. Like the Thing is one of the members of the UCWF. He will
Wait a
go
minute.
have wrestling matches
This
sometimes.
is a comic. Like this, I can find this in comics, like a whole UCWF series where it's just the wrestlers.
I don't know if they ever had their own series, but there's been a lot of different people who have been wrestlers in the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation. You have to be able to lift more than 2 tons or something like that.
Oh.
Depending on the weight class. But he was going to just go be a wrestler until somebody told him to be a superhero, and then he was a superhero. He started bashing Captain America because this was like also because of the mid 80s or mid to late 80s. The concept of the anti-hero was getting real famous. The Dark Knight Returns hit in 86, and everything kind of got grimmer and grittier, and people got more into like the Punisher and guys who killed and stuff.
Everybody started rooting for Darth Vader, and then
not everybody.
NWO and all that.
But there was like a movement to try to make Captain America grittier like that, and like just make him more violent and
really
like to Ramboize him, because that was the action heroes of the day, stuff like that. So and Grunwald was like, all right, I see what the fans are asking for, but that's not Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is not that guy.
Yeah.
So he created this whole thing where
a new guy,
being Captain America, bring in a new guy, and they ran with him for like almost 2 years, I think.
Really?
As the main Captain America, they just told his story so they could tell that thing. But he also did it as a way to sort of illustrate how hard it is to live up to the concept of what Captain America is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Taking this guy, who was basically the opposite of Steve Rogers. Instead of like a poor northern kid, he was like a southern middle-class kid. And he was more like pragmatic and nastier and had more violent tendencies and
So this is what
but
we're
he had
getting.
his
This is
fans.
what you think we're getting with this guy?
Yeah, this is going to be a Captain America that is not Steve Rogers and that who will probably embody the ideas the wrong ways.
So he's going to be the villain, we think, right?
Sort of like his character arc is that he eventually kind of realizes because the more aggressive he is, the more people are like don't want anything to do with him, and he's like, wait, I'm supposed to be inspirational. I'm not supposed to be
Yeah.
terrorizing people. So he sort of comes around to realize this. Eventually, he gives it back to Steve Rogers because he realizes he's more this.
Oh, okay.
And then he becomes. He takes the red, white, and black costume and becomes U.S. agent, who is much more able to operate. He doesn't have to live up to the Captain America thing. He just has to be a superhuman operative.
That sounds
for the
dumb. Doesn't it sound dumb? U.S. agent?
There's a lot of things in comic book world that don't always sound smooth.
And I think we've already established that a lot of things are like right on the nose. Ant-Man, Batman, Spider-Man. So
Well,
Yeah,
how
so
many?
it's a
Let
one
me
name
ask you
and
this,
then-
Art. How many U.S. agent comics do you own?
none.
I've got a few. It's like he's kind of like an interesting. He's a hard ass, and he's like he's an agitator.
You own U.S. agent comics, Andy?
I own comics with U.S. agent in them.
Oh yeah,
Like he was in the Avengers for a while. He was in several other books where he's used interestingly as a supporting character. Sometimes the Avengers, like no one in the Avengers really liked him, but he was on their team for a while because like he did contribute.
No one in the Avengers
But like
liked
you always
him.
need that dramatic, like the dick that no one's like. Quicksilver in the comic books was a huge dick to everybody.
He
all the time.
was.
Yeah, because and eventually they did a issue of X Factor. He was on a team where they psychoanalyzed him. Doc Samson, Ty Burrell from the Incredible Hulk movie,
Yeah.
was the guy doing the psychoanalysis, and it's basically Quicksilver lives his life feeling like he's standing in line at the bank because he's so fast and everyone else is so slow.
Yeah.
And even though that's normal, like he's constantly impatient, which is why he's a dick to everybody.
I think it's
U.S. agent is just a dick because he's a dick with no real good emotional control, and he's overly violent, and he's very reactionary. He's more right wing, and he got in fights with the Watchdogs, who were in the Agents of Shield show. If you remember those guys,
No,
like
now
a
I gotta
super
go watch
right wing
that.
militia. What?
Do I got to go watch Agents of Shield now?
Probably not, because in that show
you're
they were
right
after
about
the Inhumans, whereas we haven't even mentioned the Inhumans yet.
Well,
here.
I'm glad you mentioned wrestling because my my impression of this Captain America at the end of this episode, just like you said, he looks stupid with that mask on. Like, God, that guy's got a shitty face. Like, it makes you realize how cool Chris Evans looks. Like, Chris Evans, I didn't think looked cool with that on until now. And I saw that guy's dumb face. It reminded me of in wrestling. I don't know if you guys know this happened, but I missed it then. But I'm rewatching the WWE, or I was until WWE Network went away. But in the '90s, in the mid '90s, the Undertaker and Paul Bearer had like there was an extra guy in that whole Undertaker thing called the Executioner, and he looked like a dumbass. He was just wore a dumb mask. You can see the bottom of his face, and his face is just stupid and crappy. And because it was Terry Gordy, who was one of the he was like the fabulous Freebird that has no personality. The Freebird was like the one guy with the blonde hair, and then all the background guys. It was like the fat background guy that sucks. Like, that guy put on a mask and was the Executioner, and he's got a stupid face under that mask. And he just comes out and gets his ass beat every time and helps Paul Bearer. Anyway, that's what I saw. That guy looked just like the stupid, crappy Executioner. I was like, that guy sucks. What's this? This is going to suck.
He's going to be a sucky Captain America that's going to force Sam Wilson to reclaim that shield.
Yeah, because Sam Wilson...
he does not deserve... Like, Steve Rogers gave the shield to him. He gave it to the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
The government gave it to this dingus, and he's going to be such a dingus with it.
Which will be good, because Sam is like feeling like I'm not worthy, but if this piece of shit has it, I'm better than that guy, so then he'll take it, right? And then he'll be cool. But then, so then the other guy's going to become Falcon. the other guy they've introduced, will become
Yeah.
Falcon. Then we think.
They
Yeah.
said it. Maybe.
Because
And
why
I feel like-
I don't want Sam Wilson to become Captain America is because I want him to stay Falcon because Falcon kicks ass. But if we can have a
Well, he
kick-ass
kicks
Falcon,
ass as Captain America too.
Yeah, if he can
He's
kick
not going
ass-
to stop flying. He's going to keep the jet wings as Captain America.
Yeah.
They're just going to
wait,
have a.
wait, what? He capes the jet wings?
Yeah,
He keeps the jet wings
Yeah, he
as
said.
Captain America.
Oh, well then shit, do it. Have the shield and the jet wings? Badass. Anthony Mackie, I really like him. Like I didn't realize like just his first episode, like he's just got swagger or something. Like that I don't remember him having in the other movies, I guess because
That's because he was in the back.
He's
He wasn't
background.
in the background,
Yeah.
but he
He
was
wasn't
just
up
like
front like this,
he was part of the clique.
yeah.
Now him and Bucky are sharing the spotlight.
Ah, fuck Bucky. Okay, I'm gonna give Bucky a chance.
Dude,
You're gonna.
how
the
could you
goal
not
is
like
for you
this
not-
dude with he has a cybernetic arm? How could you not like that?
I do like that, but I
I think he is biased against Bucky, and we're gonna work on.
You just don't like his name, do you?
His bias.
Is it just his name?
I
His
don't
name is
know. I
James
don't know why I
Buchanan
hate
Barnes.
Bucky. I think I just like. I don't know why I don't like Bucky. I don't know. I just Bucky.
I think we'll change it.
I will work on it. I'm going to go back and watch this episode again. I'll watch the Bucky half, and I'll watch it with an open mind, and we'll see.
And without a child
Watch-
vomiting.
And
watch-
without my
watch this-
daughter vomiting, yeah.
Watch the scene from Captain America. Was it Winter Soldier where him and Cap fight Iron Man?
That's Civil War.
Well,
Civil
it's
War,
like-
yeah. What-
It's like his hair or something. Like maybe
You
it's that
took it
actor.
very
It might be that
magnificent.
actor. Like maybe it's that Sebastian Stan. Like was he in something that I wouldn't have liked? Because like I still can't get over like why I don't like Dark Knight. Like I don't like Batman. I don't like Christian Bale because in American
Christian Bale's a
Psycho
douche.
he's such a douche in American Psycho, and I know he's supposed to be a douche.
You know what it is, right?
No,
It's because you look at the character and you automatically place them in everything that they're in.
yes,
as
you're
the same
right. That is
person.
why.
That's probably it.
That is
So
why.
somehow,
just decided.
Sebastian Stan traumatized you in some other movie.
That's
or
why
some
I'm
other
asking.
thing he
Like,
did.
was he in something that I didn't like? Like, I wonder if he was something that, or like I don't know what he was in that. I don't like his face. I want to punch his face.
Now, do you want to punch his face more than you want to punch the dingus Captain America's face?
I don't want to punch his face. His face just looks dumb in wrestling. Like I want
That's the face you need to punch.
I want Undertaker to give him the tombstone.
Last ride to hell.
Yeah. Let's run to hell. That's yes. Art loves wrestling. All right. So, did we cover? Is there anything other tidbits you guys want to get in? Any last?
Only thing this is what I would say. Again, when you watch these shows, love the action, love the exposition.
Yeah.
But always be reading. Always be reading.
Always be reading. Yeah. You
Always
caught a
be
lot that
reading.
I missed.
Like on this same wall, when they flash into the thing, they actually have the activation codes for Winter Soldier written down.
What?
So it's like see the wall.
I feel like this is all like I feel like the whole thing is just Easter chickens and Easter eggs.
No.
No,
A
it's
lot of
not
it.
all. I mean, even if
And
you
it's-
don't, I just want you to pay attention, Joe. I don't
All
know
right.
if we need to give you a treat ahead of time. What we need to do to get you to pay attention to the episode. But
So should I
think
not
if you just
smoke a bunch
paid
of pot
attention,
before?
Gave Bucky a chance. I don't know what he ever did to you in what was he in? Gossip Girl? He was in one of them shows. Maybe he pissed you off in one
Maybe
of those.
that's what it is.
Okay?
I never
Maybe you
saw
watched
Gossip Girl,
and you were like,
but
"Ugh."
I'm sure Art did because Art watched One Tree Hill and Art.
No, I don't watch that shit.
No.
Like I know it comes on those stations, but like.
But you
my
did watch
only
Friends
reason-
with Benefits. You watched
my
Friends with
only
Benefits.
My only reason for watching anything on the CW is the DC shows. Like I don't watch Legacies, whatever else I can't because they all
no.
just remind me of
What happens
what
happens
teenage
if
angst
Gossip
dramas.
Girl just came on after one of those hero shows. Do you
Channel
Or did you
Channel
just
gets
watch?
changed.
I don't know.
Channel gets changed.
I don't know.
I can
Wrong.
tell you, it's like
nothing
there are like
wrong.
certain things. There are like certain things that I live and die by. Like, you could be my favorite baseball player. You get traded to the Yankees. You sign with the Yankees. Immediately, fuck you. Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. I fucking hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I can't again, he's a great quarterback, but I can't get on the bandwagon. I can't whatever.
It's hard with the Packers.
Blake
Hate
Lively
the
was on
Packers.
Gossip Girl.
Who?
And I mean, hey, I'm not watching it. I'm
just saying.
I'm-
if you're all about
I'm
the
not
liberal
wa-
life, she has ties and she's married too.
I'm okay with.
Deadpool.
I'm okay. I'm
I'm just
okay
saying,
with
if you
not
felt like watching Gossip
some-
Girl,
I like Tom
you
Cruise.
could
I like
have
Tom
you
Cruise,
have a
and I
bridge.
recently said how shitty I thought The Mummy was. Like, Tom Cruise was in it. I can't watch that movie. Tom Cruise is in it. I can't watch. I said it twice. I can't watch that movie, even though Tom Cruise is in it.
That may be all the
God,
more
why do you
reason
like
not
Tom
to watch
Cruise,
the
Art?
movie.
Art, why do you like Tom Cruise?
I feel like I grew up when I was growing up. I watched Top Gun a lot, and I love I'm also a type person who you could have an awesome soundtrack in a movie.
Yeah.
And I can Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen is not really a good movie, but I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack so much. I can hear the soundtrack and know what's going and see that part of the movie. Tell you what happened in that part of the movie because I associate the soundtrack with the movie.
Okay.
Who doesn't like when you hear Danger Zone on Top Gun, you get goosebumps, right?
I've never once got goosebumps listening to Kenny Loggins.
Right.
In its
But
own
I'm saying,
world.
so
Tom
I
Cruise
think for me,
is
when
not
I
Top
listen,
Gun.
when I think Tom Cruise, I think Top Gun. I think of growing up as a teen, not even a teen, because Top Gun came out in what, 85?
So basically, Tom Cruise
Something like that.
infiltrated your brain.
Hey, it's all right though, because it's Top Gun.
Kenny Loggins gives Art Star goosebumps.
Oh, does that mean does he do it in Over the Top as well when he sings "Meet Me Halfway" in the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie?
No, I watched that movie.
Can
over
I
the
say
pandemic.
this? Another thing about me, I grew up in the early to mid '80s, right? I love not even before that. I love '70s rock. I love '80s soft rock. Anytime
Hall & Oates?
Oh, dude, man eater, come on.
Here she
These
comes.
are all great things and great. I mean, we're not far apart in age. First of all, are you making it seem like you grew up at a time?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying is when it comes to stuff in the '80s, as an artist,
You have a Kenny Loggins tattoo?
I equate things based upon my musical taste, and some things like that. There's certain movies I only watch because I like the soundtrack. I think I've told you guys how I still watch
right?
I'm an artist. I am a visual person. So while I can sit there and listen to it and visualize, sometimes it's also nice. Like you watch Top Gun when you hear Berlin come on and you see him talking to what's her name? What's the chick's name?
Kelly McGillis.
Kelly McGillis. It's like you get it's beautiful. It's like poetry to me. You know what I mean? So
well, why don't you just
but okay.
Why don't you just like the guy from Revenge of the Nerds and not like Tom Cruise? Goose or whoever he is, Iceman or
Anthony
Goose
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards, yeah.
It's just hey, I'm a time nerd. It's
all right,
okay.
all right. So
we got whatever. Wrap this up.
We got to wrap this up. Before we go, Tiffany, have you watched any? You said you put it in your queue. Have you watched any Agent Carter?
I didn't.
No, don't support women with power. So
I did watch Raya. Did any of you watch Raya this week? No.
I haven't watched that yet.
I support kick-ass women. all around. And I've been busy
I started
working
watching the
on a
Peanut Butter
show
Falcon.
about kick-ass women,
Peanut Butter Falcon's
Joe,
good.
so I don't have time to watch Agent
That's
Carter.
right. That's
because
right.
you
You're
keep
writing a
filling
show.
up
Yeah.
my free time, Joe. So don't come for me, okay? I don't have free time. I don't know what that is.
Somebody's got to give it back to you.
See?
I actually forgot about that whole conversation while I was editing the last Cap episode. I was like, oh, Tiffany doesn't like women in power. And I forgot I said that. And then later you're like, I'm adding it to my queue right now just to teach you a lesson.
It's in the queue, but again, when will I watch it? I don't know. You guys are lucky I get on Fridays and make a point to sit down and watch TV on Friday night to watch the new Disney Plus shows. Because normally I would not watch anything this soon, even if I was looking forward to it. That's a lot of work for me to sit still.
It is. Yeah, it is. And of course, I didn't even pay attention to the Bucky parts. Andy, do you have anything else you got to add before we wrap it up? Because this is a 2-hour episode.
All right. Yeah, there's just one character I want to keep an eye out for who may or may not show up. Because John Walker's Captain America had his own Bucky, or his own partner.
God, another Bucky?
Except his name was Lamar Hoskins, and he quickly changed his name to Battlestar because, calling a black man Buck is not a good thing. That's a racial slur. But he...
I feel like I know Battlestar. Have I seen that before? Is that a Hero Click?
You've probably heard of Battlestar Galactica, but he does have a Hero Click figure.
No, doesn't he have isn't he? Feel like I remember the action figure or something.
Yeah, I think he had he's got a shield as well. He doesn't look like Bucky. He doesn't look like the Winter Soldier or anything, but he's his own dude. So he might show up in this. He might not. And I just want to mention him because at one point he was on a team called the Ducky Dozen, led by Howard the Duck, who was fighting Nazi zombies.
What?
Because comic books are just insane. They're basically insane.
Yeah, I remember Battlestar. Here's a picture of him in a wrestling ring, so it's probably that. No, I think you had an action figure of him, Andy, or something, or you gave.
We probably had a HeroClix figure of him. We might have played him because we do have that.
I remember that.
Because I've never had an action figure of him, but
you didn't. Oh man, he looks really familiar to me. But he's with Captain America and all this. Anyway, yeah. So that must be.
So that guy might show up, or he might not.
All right,
it'd be interesting if he does.
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah, because we got to end this before we got like less than 2 minutes before this is a 2-hour episode. We can't have a 2-hour episode for free. So we'll end that here, and thanks for listening, everybody. That was Falcon Winter Soldier episode 1, and we'll end it now. Andy, send us out.
That's it. Nerds roll. Excelsior! Oh, my glasses are broken.
My pocket is protected.
Okay.
Say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd School Podcast.
Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.
I'm totally okay with being the villain. We all can't be the good guy.